Hi, I'm Hugh Stearns with Stearns Design Build, and today we're going to talk about the cost of inadequate planning and remodeling. We know that many clients who come to us have a lot of concerns. Some of the concerns include cost overruns and schedule delays and projects ending up in a way that doesn't make them happy. It's a big investment, and people are really concerned about making the right choices. An awful lot of what goes on is people have lived in a home and they've tried to determine what they want from that home after they've lived in it. They want to make sure they're making the right choices in the process. So we're going to talk a little bit about adequate planning and what goes into adequate planning to get you ready for the remodeling project you're thinking about. One of the questions that people have as they get ready to start a remodeling project is, how much is it going to cost? How long will it take? Who should I work with? How do I go about making all of these decisions? What should I do to just start the process? So that's what we'll be talking about today. So one of the first decisions that has to be made is how you're going to go about it. So a good place to start with this is with your goals. What is it you're trying to accomplish? And here, as you think about your remodeling, you're going to think about a lot of small things like, what color am I going to put here? What kind of tile do I want there? And those can be distractions in the early part of the decision. Set out 1 to 3 goals to start with, and make sure every decision you make ties back to those goals. So once you've decided the goals, you can begin to decide how you want to go about the process. A lot of people want to do DIY, do it yourself, which is a great option. It really gives you a sense of connection to the space you create, but it can also be problematic. We see people lose value in their home because they've done things improperly. But if you're the kind of person who has a ton of tools in your garage and loves to use them, maybe it's a good option for you, or at least part of it. So consider that. But an awful lot of people don't have time or desire to do that. So there's a couple of different approaches. One is to work with an architect to get a design and then hire a contractor to build it. What we do is we do design and build because we think it's important to bring those things together. If you work with Stearns Design Build, you'll start with the design process and then go into the build process. And as we work on that, we're bringing those two things together synchronistically to create a well-balanced project. But there's just a lot of ways that you can go about improving your home, and you'll want to think about all of those. Once you've made those first basic decisions, you've got your goals, you've kind of decided what your approach is going to be. Now it's time to get to work and go ahead and put your team together. And then you can get into the process of planning. So what are the risks you face if you don't plan properly? One is devaluing your home. Other things can include having schedules that don't work out, not having materials on site when you need them, not having people on site when you need them, or having a project that ends up without exactly what you wanted. The art of remodeling is the art of planning. Your project will be successful whether you're doing it yourself or doing it with a contractor to the degree that it's well planned. It's one of the reasons why we love the idea of design build, because you have to design it with build in mind, and you want to then also have design available when you're building. But you can separate them. There's no problem with that. We see successful projects that happen that way all the time. Architects bring a unique perspective to planning and thinking through the aesthetics of a project, and those things are important as well. So there are a lot of parts to planning. We start with the floor plan, and then we begin to layer on additional things into those plans, such as cabinets, plumbing, lighting. And then, of course, we're thinking about aesthetics throughout the process as well. There's a lot of selections to be made, such as plumbing fixtures and countertops and any number of things that will require you to make a choice. Now, a lot of things are also being made that have to do with just simply the structure, things that you don't have to choose, the lumber and those sorts of things. But they do have to be well planned out. As we go through planning, one of the things that we're very cautious of is lighting. How much lighting does each space need, and what can we do to create lighting that works with the design? all of these things are things that are planned out, and without them, you end up with an incomplete plan, an incomplete project that might lack lighting. It might not have a well-composed set of things such as flooring, countertops, and backsplashes. So you've got to create a well laid out plan that is layered with the aesthetics and the structure of building the product. So now you've got your plan all put together. It's been well thought out. You've got every element in it, and it's ready to get started, right? Well, not quite yet. We've got to create a timeline for that project. That's what allows us to make sure the materials are on site on time, that the various trades are there when they need to be. This is a crucial part of planning. We use what's called a Gantt chart, which is basically a bar chart that shows how everything's going to go. And when we start, we have a very clear idea of how that plan's going to roll out. But any remodeling project is just a matter of a lot of moving parts. So every day things change a little bit, and we have to make adjustments as we go. So part of the process is planning, and another part is adjusting the plan as you go. So what's important as we develop the plan is understanding your vision. One way we do this is with mood boards. We do this because what we don't want to do is go through item by item and make a single selections without considering the other selections as a composite of a well-balanced plan. So with these mood boards, we're able to bring the various elements, visual elements in so that you can see them together so that we create that well-balanced plan. So the tools involved in creating a design and a plan include such things as a CAD program that lets us draw in computer space. And then we also use other tools such as virtual reality. If you're working with us, we'll build that plan and then put a headset on you so you can walk through it and get a real sense of that. Most people have a hard time considering what three-dimensional space is going to look like from a two-dimensional design. So the VR set really helps with that. But we also use a lot of other things such as elevations and as we had spoken about, the mood boards as well. Remodeling requires not only a depth of understanding of all aspects of a home. In a lot of respects, remodeling requires a lot more knowledge than building a new home, because we have to also do demolition, and then we have to build new to old, which requires a higher level of craft than just simply building new. So in conclusion, planning is really the heart and soul of a good, successful project. You want to plan the aesthetics all the way through, and you want to plan the work all the way through. Using a professional will help you get the level of planning you need. It's a complex system. But if you do it yourself, you can also come up with a good plan by being mindful and following the steps. One of our commitments in Bryan and College Station is to make sure that we're improving the building stock of our community. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, don't hesitate to call us if you have questions. We're happy to answer questions to the degree that we can do it quickly. We also offer seminars periodically that help lay out the process. So we want to be there for you, whether you're hiring us to be your contractor and designer or whether you're doing it yourself. So let's make sure we're planning those projects so they come out as beautiful as we have them in our minds.